What?
Guest host. We got a guest host today.
Okay.
He wants his time in the spotlight. Looks more like he wants on Quinn's lap, but whatever. Hey, big guy.
Who wouldn't?
Oh,
Roll the
boy.
intro. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another episode of Bitcade. This is episode 10. 10. My name is Ryan E. Moore, but joining and also co-hosting alongside with me is the one and only Quinn.
The one and only Quinn.
One and only.
I mean, does anyone else have your last name? That's named Quinn.
Yeah,
My mom.
That's named Quinn?
Yeah, your mom. Your mother named.
If you didn't know, I'm actually Quinn Anthony Vettis the third. So
Really?
No.
God, I hate you. Okay, and David down there at the very far end as well.
Yep. I am not the one and only because there is another. I am named after somebody, so I am not the one. And only,
Okay.
So.
Yeah, my name is really common. Like, there's a golfer, Ryan Moore. There's also a BMX or motocross guy named that. So that's why I took the Twitter handle Ryan A.E. Moore, because there's no one named Ryan Allen Edward Moore. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, this is Bitcade. Hopefully I'm in frame. I know you two are. What?
The timer.
That's for topics. This is the
mind.
intro. David.
Find that.
David, you just broke the
don't-
wall.
I know. I don't even know if that's on camera. Anyway, this is Bitcade, Primal Target's official video game podcast. Yeah, it's good. I think we got three really good topics. We got. What do you want to call it? Do you want to go with this one? This one's more of like a shorter name.
Well,
for
we
YouTube
should go
title.
by. It should. Be
I know,
ordered.
but is that what you want it to be called?
No, it should be My Video Game Life.
Okay.
That's what it should
My
be.
Video
All right.
Game Life.
So we're gonna talk about Quinn's video game life,
Well,
as well as all of
yeah.
ours, and then we're gonna do what games have we been playing. But the first topic is because of the SNES Classic coming out, we are talking about classic throwback consoles. So, my question to you guys is, if you were to pick any console,
handheld, anything, doesn't matter.
any console,
anything video
what?
game related.
It doesn't have to be Nintendo, just anything.
Yeah.
What would you want a classic console of, and what 5 games definitely need to be in there? And there's no restrictions. So there's no like Rare owns the property and Microsoft's owned by Rare, so there's no Diddy Kong racing happening on an N64. If you want that, it can be a part of that. There's no contracts. Your dream console, throwback console, 5 games you would put on there. You want to just go down this way?
Yeah, sure.
So David, what game console would you choose, and what 5 games would you put in there, and maybe a special thing you'd want inside that thing?
Well, I think it's probably no surprise to our viewers which one would be for me, which is gonna probably be next year's console if they continue this. Is gonna be the 64.
Okay.
I would like to see the 64, little itty bitty 64 with that little. I even want to have a cartridge that I can pop open and like see the little red bit. That would be like.
Maybe it's just like a part of it.
Yeah,
like,
no, like
it's
it
just
doesn't
the
pop
cartridge
out.
is
It's
in there,
just-
but it's gray.
Well,
It says Nintendo on it.
No, the little where the expansion pack went.
Oh,
that little pop, that I could
okay.
pop open and there's just like a little red thing there. Just be like, yeah, this is where that went. I'd be like, yeah.
Okay.
That's like things like that get me. Like when I opened up the Dark Souls board game, and you open it up, first thing you see is this cover sheet that says "You died." I just was like, oh, the flavor is so good. But it would be the 64.
Okay.
I don't know, because the control, I don't know how they would package it well with the controllers, because they're just a mess.
Yeah.
In terms of design, I mean, they're comfortable and they function and they work, but in terms of like packaging them, like the box is gonna be huge. But for me, it would have to be the 64. Games. When it comes to games, the number one for me, and I know they probably won't be on there, would be, and I'm clumping these two together because they're basically the same game.
Hey, they put Super Mario Brothers 1, 2, and 3 in.
Yeah.
So you can
but I'm clumping
together.
these two together, which is GoldenEye.
Oh, as
64.
for your 5.
Well, no, in part of the 5 games, but
Yeah.
these two games are so similar, like GoldenEye and Perfect Dark.
Okay,
I would
okay.
kind of count those games as basically the
Yeah.
same. I would write if one of those were on there, I think that would be great.
And one of them is made by Rare.
Yeah, no, they're both
made by Rare. That's right. Perfect Dark
made
is
by
Rare. Yeah.
But a movie studio, the studio that owns the rights to GoldenEye is why you don't see that GoldenEye on like Rare.
Oh yeah, Rare Replay. Yeah.
So, but I know it's probably neither of those would probably go on there. But I feel like not having that on there would, like, that game. Those games, especially GoldenEye, were console sellers, hands down console sellers. After that, I would have to go with Diddy Kong Racing
Because it's better than Mario Kart.
I still think it's the best kart racer out there.
Yeah. May it rest in peace.
I
had it for 64. We can have a Diddy Kong Racing tournament if we want to.
I remember. I love that game so much.
I've never played that game.
Oh,
it's so good. It's
So
like
good.
it's.
You got Conquer. You
Yeah,
got
I mean,
Diddy
it's
Kong.
got every-
Before he went M-rated.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That was who I played too, by the way.
Oh, really?
Yeah, before even Conquer was a
I
thing.
played the
That's what's
turtle
cool.
guy.
Yeah.
I don't know what his variant of why he was there.
I don't
think he's just
remember
a
his
friend of Diddy
name,
Kong.
Because
but-
turtles are cool.
I guess, yeah.
Yeah.
There was a mouse that
Mm-hmm.
kind of looked like
bow on her head.
She was a girl.
Yeah, the little dress.
Yeah. There's a crocodile.
Mm-hmm.
Banjo was in the game.
Banjo. And that was when Banjo like had his own game coming
Yeah.
out. Like he was in the game knowing that he was gonna get another one. But yeah, Diddy Kong Racing, that game, my brother and our friends, we spent just as much time playing that as we did on Mario Kart. But for me, Diddy Kong is the better of the two.
Yeah.
Personally, especially one of my favorite maps on there was for the multiplayer, the Battle Royale mode, where you're
Trying to pop the balloons kind of thing.
I think it was like shells. I don't remember. No, yeah,
No,
was
it's
it
balloons. Yeah.
It was balloons like Mario Kart.
Yeah.
But-
No, they had balloons first, I believe.
No, Mario
I
Kart
thought
had
they
balloons.
had balloons.
No,
Oh, okay.
Mario Kart had balloons.
I guess they had balloons too.
Because weren't they like yellow with like
Oh,
red
no.
zigzag around the end? I don't remember. what
No,
they were.
balloons were power-ups. I don't know what you were trying to pop in
I don't
battle
remember
mode.
either.
But I know battle mode was
It
that was intense.
It was good, yeah,
Yeah.
because you had airplane battle mode, hydroplane.
There was
battle mode,
there was
and
an
the
egg
kart.
collecting one.
Yeah, there was
so
like
there's
mini
like
games.
different.
Yeah, you go and collect eggs
multiplayer
and put them on
versus-
from the nest, and you got to take them to the zone.
Yeah.
And it was just my favorite map was like the ice pyramid, where you're inside like an Egyptian pyramid, but it's ice, and so it's really slippery and it's layered with levels that you can jump up and down and off of.
Yeah, because almost every map had at least two different vehicles you could race, and there were hovercraft, race car, and plane.
Yeah,
So
yeah, and it was just a lot of fun.
yeah.
It was a lot of fun, and I was bummed that we never got a second one. I really
Yeah.
was.
Hey, who knows? Well, I mean, we won't get Diddy Kong now because it sucks because Rare, I'm sure, would be more than happy to make another one of those games, but because it's Diddy Kong,
Probably Conquer's
that's the only
racing game.
Well,
Or
yeah, you could
Banjo.
do Conker's kart game or
Yeah.
whatever, something like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, you can't do Diddy.
After that one, I think my third choice, Rogue Squadron. That was one of the one of the first 3 games that I 100% and got all the platinum, because you would get rated. You get bronze, silver, gold, and platinum ratings for completing the levels, and that was one of the first games that I got all platinums for each map on. I remember unlocking the Naboo fighter, which was like this big like super that was like your like end game like
The Naboo
congratulations.
fighter.
It was a good plane.
Mhm.
You could use it on maps, so you could use like the A-wing or
Yeah.
or like the Naboo fighter, and it was really nice. But that was a game that I spent a ton of time just by myself just playing, and I mean playing those maps over and over again just to get those platinums, because like you screw up one thing and you restart.
Yeah.
You know.
Mhm.
After that, I would have to put on 1080 snowboarding.
I actually have that.
Yeah.
I've not played it, but I bought it because of for an event.
Yeah. I used to play that game a lot as well. I used to always play. I don't remember his name, but it was the guy who was the top speed. I think it was the black guy with the white coat. And I just would go for speed. I never really did the tricks. I just would, bam, down.
Got to get to the end.
Got to go fast.
Yeah. Exactly.
After that, for me personally, I would put on Operation Win Back. I know I talked about that at a previous episode. That's one of my favorite games on the N64 of all time. It's so good. If you have a 64 and you ever come across that game in a secondhand store, or if somebody says, "Yeah, I have it. You want to borrow it?" Play it. It is a gem on that console that came out really late in its life cycle, and it got really good reviews. It just was nobody really bought it.
Yeah. Probably would have been better like if it came out. What is that 64? Was it 64 the GameCube? What was after 64?
It went 64 and then GameCube.
Wow, really?
Yeah.
Wow.
But
So weird to think that those were the two that
Mhm.
like you went from 64-bit to like just regular resolution on discs and stuff. Yeah, that's interesting.
Miniature discs though.
Yeah.
Little bagel discs.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Those
Bagel bite discs.
those for me though are my top 5.
Those are good. Those are good games.
I would probably also like to see Wave Race on there. Loved Wave Race. I used to do the little there's like a little trick course you can go on. I used to be able to like do like side flips this way and then a second flip normally, and I used to I killed that game. I was really good. But that would be it for me. I feel like those if they were on there, I'd be happy. I know some of them won't because of licensing reasons and all that kind of stuff. But if Perfect World, that would be it.
Those are definitely some good picks. I agree with like a lot of those games.
Yeah.
The ones I would say I wouldn't, it's just because like I don't know the games. But like Diddy Kong being on there would be great.
I think you being your Gears of War fan, I think you would really get into Operation Win Back. Yeah, it's very similar.
We'll have to head up to Seattle and go to like. There's a store up there that I bought. Medal of Honor.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we have local.
Yeah, but they don't. Yeah.
I have Operation Win Back. I think my brother has it up in Seattle.
Oh, okay. There you go.
But I think because I went home and asked my brother Ben because he's the one that has R64. And he thinks my other brother has it.
Okay, well there you go.
But that's what I'd pick.
Quinn, what is your console that you would rise from the dead to get one more shot in the limelight?
Unless hurrah!
And what are 5 games that you would go? Or I guess.
Well,
why don't you explain yours and then we'll go from there.
So I didn't have 5 games because I was born after this era of gaming and I played it, but okay.
Is that really after your era?
Well, I was born in 97. The moment I had consciousness was when I was like 4 or 5.
That's
so that's
true,
2002.
That's true. Because
and by that point, it would have been
so
GameCube.
I was already playing games at night.
Would have been.
I was about to graduate high school.
Yeah.
Because sure, I could have played a console like that maybe when I was really young, but I wouldn't remember.
Yeah, I get what you're saying.
And I wouldn't have had a lot of experience with it. And also, backstory, I already talked about this a little bit, but I didn't have a real console until a lot later, so I relied on going to my friends' houses to play their consoles, and most of the time, they had a lot of Nintendo systems, so like N64, Super Nintendo, and stuff like that. So I got a lot of more experience with those consoles than like PlayStation, PS2, and blah blah blah. Because I guess parents got them the Nintendo stuff because that's more kid friendly.
Yeah, well, everyone called it a Nintendo. Like you had a Nintendo.
I had
or
a
whatever.
Nintendo.
Yeah, exactly.
It wasn't.
You were
like
either
that,
a Nintendo kid or you were a Sega
or you were
kid.
the other guy.
Yeah.
And so
the guy that. Well, I mean, a lot of people do. Have
other
Sega.
guy.
My dad has a Sega. Yeah. Anyway.
The console I would choose is the same era as David's would be the Dreamcast. My friend had one of those, and we play that. There weren't a lot of games. Like, there was a Sonic game we played on it, and I wasn't that big of a Sonic fan, so I didn't really care. But there was this one racing game that I really liked. I don't know if we could get out of the car, but I felt like we could. But we just, for whatever reason, like, our brains at a really young age, even if we thought we pressed all the buttons, like, sometimes we wouldn't be. Like, I don't know how it worked. But essentially, we couldn't... There was a story mode, and there was, like, a free mode, I guess, from my recollection of it. In the story mode, you start off in a garage or something, and there's like no exit if you're in your car. But I think the way to get out is you'd have to get out of your car and open the garage doors or something and then get out. But we couldn't get out of the car, so we're stuck in the story mode at the very first part. So we did free mode where you just drove around. And I remember my friend, he had his grandpa over, and he was like, "Dude, you drive like a drunk guy." Because I was like crashing into the walls. Because one thing that I'm really bad at is racing games. I cannot steer well because here's the thing: when I drive, it's just there's no drifting. There's just pedal to the metal. There's no braking. There's just forward. There's forward.
Go. Just go.
Exactly. There's no. If there's a train that's coming, I better be going faster than that train.
Oh, so you live your life 1/4 mile at a time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Rest in peace. I mean, I'm not saying rest in peace to Dom. I've seen Fast and the Furious. Anyway, I just wanted to clarify that.
And so the games that I would kind of want, since I didn't have a whole bunch of memories with that console, but they're games that I think are kind of cool as I've grown up.
Mm-hmm.
I've wanted to, if I had the chance to get a Dreamcast or something like that, is like Shenmue, Jet Set Radio, because I haven't played the original. I've only played Future on the Xbox. And then, of course, you have your Sonic games. I thought that would be like a staple on the Dreamcast, and that's whatever, you know. And then Phantasy Star, and because one of the things with the Dreamcast is it had like online capabilities, and Phantasy Star was like MMO-esque thing, and that blew my mind about when I found out about that, because I played Phantasy Star Zero on the DS, and it was sort of like that, and the graphics were really good on DS.
I've only played Phantasy Star Universe.
Oh,
Did you ever play Universe?
That's
There was a
Xbox
there was a demo,
360?
on Xbox 360 that you could play all the way to level like 12, and then after that they'd cap you, but you could still run around.
But
and do
you
stuff.
could still do stuff.
Oh my gosh, there was some stories that I could tell about Phantasy Star Universe.
Did you have like a good time even though you were capped at 12?
There was. It's more of because you could go on a server, and the servers had so many people on there. It was like probably the most I've ever seen on there. But you could communicate with your people. I never was this person. I know somebody that that paid money to get pictures from some other person. I don't know. I've never done it, but I know someone that personally did that, and then I know someone that made fun of that. And probably the funniest thing, where it was. Oh God, I can't. I don't even really want to quote him because it'd probably like call him out. But it's no one that you've seen on videos here. But it's the funniest thing, like that someone actually did that, and they do it. You'd pay in-game currency to do. It was literally Second Life on Xbox. Like that was what it was.
You paid money to get like.
I did not.
I know you didn't.
I want to go
like,
clarification. I did not do that.
People paid money to other people to get like real photos of them, or
yes.
Oh, that's weird. See,
they would be sent through Xbox.
Back in my day, we would just
you can get
have
messed
the
up on
characters
that.
do that to each other. that was back in my day.
I'm older than you.
Okay, but come on now.
Okay, anyway, I just wanted to go on that a little bit because it'd probably never get brought up again. So I just want to.
Thanks for telling us your story about.
No, not me. I want to go on clarification. Not me. It was someone I knew that he and his cousin.
Someone very close to you.
Yeah. Yes, someone very close, and then he was very proud of it, and I was like, "How? Wait, you can do that on here?" And he's like, "Yeah, I gave him Xbox points, Microsoft points to do that." And I was like, "What?" And then his cousin, no, I can't say who his cousin is. Never mind. But his cousin said like, "Why would I pay for pussy if I could see him?" or something like that. And I was like, "Oh my gosh!" But that's that's that little story. So you could do it. You could do it on there because they had the little Xbox camera, and you could take pictures and video chat people and all that stuff. That was before the what you call it, the Kinect. So just want to let you know. Hate to bring it down.
Glad I didn't play that version of the game.
Or no, I'm just joking.
But yeah, that would be my sort of my retro console resurrection miniature thing.
Would be Phantasy Star.
No, well, that would be. It would be the Dreamcast.
So why Shenmue? Because you didn't say that one. Why?
He did. He mentioned.
He said it, but why?
Why Shenmue? Because that's a game that everybody always talks about as having one, like a really good story, and there's only 2 of them, and everybody. It's like what's that game with Gordon Ramsay or something like
Half-Life?
that? Half-Life. Yeah, everybody wants a third game.
No,
in
that
the
was
series.
that was one of the first games to come out where it would really emphasize on like focus and the amount of content you can do in a game. He's thinking Gordon Freeman.
Yeah.
I know. I
Yeah.
was like,
I'm
Gordon Ramsay.
Yeah. Yeah.
This crab alien is terrible.
Yeah, that's what
Would you have liked that game if he was the main
Yeah, I would have loved it. Who wouldn't play a Gordon
you just
Ramsay
take
mod?
your crowbar right here.
Okay,
and you just
Computer
smash it.
specialists, if you guys can somehow make a mod of putting Gordon Ramsay in Half-Life, that would make it amazing.
Yep, there you go.
That would fix all your problems.
It would
with
make
the game.
it would literally fix everything about that game I don't like.
Huh?
Okay.
There we go. It's your turn.
Mine was going to be the 64, but then I thought about it, and I'm like, the 64 was something I grew up on, but I didn't have that many games, and mainly all the games I would list off would be like Diddy Kong, Super
big
Mario,
ones.
Super
The
Mario
big
64. Like I didn't have very many
Mhm.
64 games, so I picked the PlayStation 2 because I feel like that's the one that like I actually was wanting games to play on. One of the games I'd want is Destroy All Humans. Destroy All Humans is one of my favorite games. It's actually one of the
That's
very
the alien-
few
it's
games.
like the alien
Yeah,
one,
so you
yeah.
play as an alien. I think his name's Spike or something like that. I can't remember. I haven't played it in a long, long time. I've actually been looking for that game for a very, very long time. And I feel like that's a really good third-person open world type of game that could like bring out an elements of this kind of stuff and a really cool story of like 1950s or 19. I think it's 1950s. Because I think the second one takes place during the 70s or something like that.
Mhm.
And then the ending was like the first twist ending I've ever experienced. Like, everyone, what? That's the... And then, so Destroy All Humans, one of my favorite games on PlayStation 2. Medal of Honor Frontline, actually just recently got this. I actually bought it at PAX for $4. And they... You know what? Shout out. Pink Gorilla. They're the reason why I got it for that price. Where I've been trying to look for it, and... I did see it cheaper at a pawn shop, but I wouldn't have even thought to walk into a pawn shop to find a game like that. But it's also because they had a few copies, which is interesting too. I've never seen that game in a long time other than at PAX in there. The third game.
Medal of Honor, that's the one where you start on D-Day, right?
Yeah, so he's like,
I remember-
Patterson, get over
Yeah,
here. Like,
I
it's
remember
such a memorable, like,
Yeah.
holy
I
crap
remember
moment.
That I remember that level blowing my mind.
Yeah.
when
I
it came
really want to
out.
play it as a PT plays.
Yeah.
Like, that's one of those games I want to play as a PT plays because it's just like that beginning part is so intense that you're like, I'm in Save It Private Ryan, or like
Yeah,
I'm
no,
in
yeah,
this
I agree,
scene
100%.
that was like I've seen in movies. I've looked in history books, and now I'm experiencing this that was the first
Yeah.
time I ever experienced that, something like that. And then I thought I'd throw in this one because it has all the elements that I really like. I've just never really sat down and played it. I think Kingdom Hearts should definitely make it into a PlayStation 2 thing, especially since Sony loves pumping out remakes of that thing.
Yeah.
And
2.8?
yeah, exactly. 2.897422824. Those are not my phone number. There's but Kingdom Hearts is like one of those games that I'd really want to like go back. I really want to just like.
How
sit
many
down
have
and
you
play.
played?
I've just played Kingdom. Well, okay. I played 364 over.
Oh, 358 over 2?
Yeah, you see how dumb those names
Yeah.
get.
Yeah.
That one on the DS because I was getting my wisdom teeth pulled out, but I only played it for like 2 days and then I was done.
That's my favorite one, actually.
And then I've seen my friend, one of my friends play Kingdom Hearts from beginning to end in one night. Like he just played it through, and he could do it. Just he knows where everything's at. So what does that tell you about that game? But but it has like it has Disney stuff in it. It's like I want to play Kingdom Hearts because it just has all this stuff I like about it. And it's like I don't know,
Unfortunately, to me, was the turn off.
That's
for
my
me in
turn
that
off,
game.
too.
because it has
Yeah.
the Disney characters in it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing is like what I really like about the fact that it has the Disney characters was the worlds that you would experience. Like you actually got to see different parts of the world that never were explored in the movies.
Mm-hmm.
So like when you went to when you played in Hercules is pretty early on. So and a pretty iconic one where you have to do all the challenges and then you have to face all the people and then you meet somebody that you may know. But like you get to battle in this Coliseum that like you didn't really see Coliseum. Like you saw them in the background, you never really went into them or walked around and do this kind of stuff. You had this 3D environment and stuff. So that's why I would say Kingdom Hearts. Another one is God of War. I think God of War being not in a PlayStation 2 classic would be a sin because that game, obviously, it's continuing on all the way to the PS4. It started with the PS2, which a lot of people forget. And
Yeah,
it's
I
like,
didn't know that,
it's
actually.
crazy that, God of War has gone from PS2, PSP, PS3, and PS4.
I'm surprised in its life cycle, or in the PlayStation 3's life cycle, they only had one God of War game on it.
Yeah, well, I mean,
I thought that was
yeah. And even with
because they had the HD remakes on it.
PSP
but,
got more games of God of War than the PlayStation 3 did.
Yeah.
So other than remakes, like if you don't count the remakes, obviously there's the HD collection which comes with 1 and 2, and then there's like a whole HD thing that comes with like the God of War 1, 2, and the 2 PSP games. Because I think there are 2 PSP games, if I remember.
I didn't
correctly.
know there were PSP games.
Yeah, there is a PSP. There's Chains of Olympus. I can name
okay.
one of them, but I don't
Okay.
know if there's a second one. But anyway,
I beta tested that game.
yeah,
Back
I
when-
played Chains of Olympus demo on
Back when-
PSP when I got one.
Back when a beta test was an actual beta test.
Yeah.
Sony sent me this little pamphlet. It was really cool. I still have it. It's probably in my storage tub and thing, but it's really cool little pamphlet. Beautiful artwork on it.
Why do you hang it up?
I never bought the game. I didn't
Oh.
I didn't get into it enough.
Okay.
I played it. I played through it. I gave Sony my feedback on it, and it wasn't for me. I could see the appeal of it,
Yeah.
but it just wasn't something.
They actually seek out more of your opinion than somebody like my dad who has played God of War.
Mhm.
Like I'm sure it's killed him from not being able to play the other God of War games because he played 1 and 2. Like when 1 he beat that in like a couple days, and he's one of those people that when he beats it, he'll keep replaying it over and over again.
Yeah, I'll see if I can find it so you guys can see it. It's really cool. Like it opens up, the game is in there. There's some paperwork that came, like legal paperwork with it.
Is this God of War?
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Beta test God of
this
War.
Was like a PSP one. Okay,
No. This is the
You
very
know.
first one. I
Yeah.
beta tested the very first one, and it had some legal paperwork in it, basically saying, "Hey, it's not okay to sell this game." And all this kind of, we had, legal ramifications.
Yeah, the
and all,
bad
all
yeah.
that kind of stuff. But yeah,
So you got a test copy?
yeah.
How far did it go?
It was just the first section of the
Okay.
game. It was like the Hydra battle.
Yeah,
on
that's
the
the
boat.
first thing you do. Yeah.
Yeah, it was just that. It was and I played the crap out of it because I tried to find as many bugs in as I could because I wanted to help. So.
Yeah.
But like I said, it wasn't.
How
my
did they
kind
email you? Did you like go onto a website or
of,
something?
Yeah, no, they back then. You had an email address. I had my email address. I had my password that I go into on the PlayStation website, and they would ask me. I would send in like video game ideas if I had them, all these other kind of things, and I beta tested Monster Hunter, the very first Monster Hunter as well. I beta tested SOCOM 2.
You probably are in the credits for God of War because they put beta.
I
testers in there.
have no idea.
That'd be awesome. That'd be freaking cool.
I have no
Yeah.
idea.
So my last one was gonna be, SmackDown. Here Comes the Pain.
SmackDown.
And the reason why I changed it to SmackDown versus Raw is because SmackDown versus Raw was still just a PlayStation exclusive, which I'm just going off of what the internet said, so I didn't. It was a quick search. So if it isn't, here it is anyway. SmackDown vs. Raw deserves to be on the PlayStation 2 Classic because wrestling games were a big deal on the PlayStation 2, especially since SmackDown had several sequels on the PlayStation 2, and it just kept getting stuff. Raw was on Xbox, but there was only, I think, 2 Raw games, and then there were pay-per-view ones. So there's like WrestleMania 20 and No Mercy and all this stuff. And those would come to the GameCube and stuff like that. But predominantly, like when you look back, PlayStation 2 really had a lot of the wrestling games. And there's something about the wrestling games, even if you're not a wrestling fan, as soon as you pick them up, you know what to do. Like you have to beat the crap out of the other guy. You don't know how you're going to do it. You'll figure it out. Like nowadays is a little different because there's a lot more like technique stuff. But I think SmackDown, the reason why SmackDown versus Raw over SmackDown Here Comes the Pain is because, yeah. The reason why, because SmackDown, Here Comes the Pain was the like the last one that was called SmackDown, and then it became SmackDown versus Raw, which collided obviously the two worlds of SmackDown and Raw, which the two shows that WWE has is SmackDown and Raw. And at the time, that was a big deal because, you know, during the Attitude Era, so WWE does all these eras. The Attitude Era was coming to a close, and you kind of had this reckless aggression era is when I started watching. And that's when people like John Cena started showing up. That's when Evolution was kind of disbanding and becoming different people. So Batista was starting to become his own name. Randy Orton was starting to come up and rise. So you got all these names that are kind of becoming who they are. I'm probably just saying names now for people that aren't wrestling fans. But during SmackDown vs. Raw, there was some really cool elements that began a long tradition of these games from having the two different shows. So they started doing like a story mode. They had so many features. Like the way that THQ was making these games was they just kept adding a whole bunch of stuff, and somehow the disc kept holding all of these things. And by the end of SmackDown vs. Raw, I mean, it kind of became a watered down version, which is the downfall of THQ, not just a lot of their games. But I think this one had general manager mode. I can't remember. I know, but SmackDown vs. Raw had this awesome start to what wrestling games, like legitimately, like anyone could really pick these up and love these games, even if you aren't a wrestling fan or you are a wrestling fan, but you don't keep track of like who's on what and who are these new guys. Like, and it's kind of like I'm gonna relate this way. It's kind of like Pokemon, where you learn Pokemon names through the game. So like there are wrestlers that I didn't watch Raw as a kid, but I watched SmackDown. So like I knew who the Raw people were based on the games. Like I knew who Triple H was because he's in the game still and all these things. But anyway, that's just kind of a tangent. But I think so. Wrapping it up, Destroy All Humans, Medal of Honor Frontline, Kingdom Hearts, God of War, and SmackDown vs. Raw. Those would be really cool games. I know that like obviously SmackDown vs. Raw doesn't need to be in the classic thing. I just know that based off of like history of things. Yeah. Medal of Honor would be a really cool first-person shooter game that would be in there. God of War, obviously a PlayStation title. It would be stupid for them to not put it in there. Kingdom Hearts makes total sense, but it's a huge game to put into this PlayStation 2 classic. And then Destroy All Humans, obviously is owned by THQ. Well, no, it's not anymore. Can't remember who owns it now. But anyway, yeah, Destroy All Humans is like in this limbo of like it was bought before THQ was in the hole, so like someone else owns it now, and like they have to make it in order for Destroy. But I've heard it's not too far out of the question. I keep hearing rumors every so often. But anyway,
when you were talking about your wrestling game, it reminded me of on the 64. I used to play the crap out of WWF WrestleMania 2000.
Yeah.
And there's I would spend hours just making characters.
I've seen that game a lot. Oh, yeah, that's another thing. Character creation and like all these things. That was. I love they that get game. So in depth.
I love that game.
Yeah. See, I thought wrestling games are really fun.
Yeah. And that was back. Yeah, because that was back during the. Was it the Attitude Era with like Generation X and.
Well, so Degeneration X kind of. Yeah, I guess they kind of. It was during that. Yeah. When, I think a lot of people consider the Attitude Era like where Stone Cold Steve Austin and The Rock are. So once those two people, that time frame. Yeah, once those two guys are involved, then that's the Attitude Era.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Reckless Aggression is when I usually say when John Cena is like a part of it.
Yeah, because that was back when I watched wrestling, was during that period when
a lot of people watched it during that.
I've never seen a match with John Cena, or I stopped watching before he was a thing.
Yeah. I started when Cena was starting, and then that was when I don't know, he was on SmackDown, so it was easy to follow, and like a lot of the big names were on SmackDown, and now it's kind of vice versa. Now a lot of people go to Raw.
I remember I was watching wrestling before SmackDown was even a thing.
Yeah,
it was SmackDown, or it was Raw on Mondays, and it was something else on Fridays, and then that eventually be changed to like
there was
SmackDown on Thursdays.
Monday Night Nitro was on Mondays.
I thought that
as
was
well.
WCW.
Yeah, I know. That
Yeah.
was the battle between
Yeah.
Mondays. Then they were at the same time.
Yeah.
So you either chose to watch Raw or you chose to watch Monday Night Nitro.
I
So it
watched
was like,
back then.
Who do you choose? Do you
I
choose
watched
WCW or
I
Raw?
watched
Or-
Nitro back then.
Really? You were
Back then.
WCW?
Back then, yeah. Before
Did you watch the end of it when WCW ended? Okay.
No,
When you
I-
found out
I-
Shane McMahon was the general manager, and then they just
no,
collided?
because of the video games, I eventually switched to WWF because like I played WCW and WCW, and then there's WCW versus NWO. And,
That's interesting. Okay.
And then there was, or what was it? Was it No Mercy? No Mercy was a.
That's WWF.
It was WWF.
Well, it's WWE now, but yes, at the time that would be
Because there was another one that was because there
least I
were
think.
on the
I think they've always
64 there were 2 WCW games, and then there was WWF WrestleMania, and I didn't get into the WWF till I had WWF WrestleMania.
And then there was also ECW had a game too.
Yeah, those were terrible.
ECW Hardcore.
Those were terrible. I
Yeah,
tried
it
playing
was-
those.
they're not good.
The controls were terrible. Anyways, we're a little off topic.
Welcome to
But-
the official wrestling podcast.
The official wrestling video game podcast.
Dude, I
from
would
15
totally be
years
down
ago.
with that. Dude, WWE 2K18 is coming to the Switch, and you better darn believe I'm buying that game for the Switch. I'm just saying. There's a lot of game happening in there, and it'd be awesome to have that on portable. Because I had SmackDown vs. Raw 2007 on the PSP, or 2006, but I think 2007 was when they were like, that's the peak of SmackDown vs. Raw. But they had general manager mode, and oh my god, that was so cool because you ran SmackDown. You chose you drafted people. This is how cool it was. Like you drafted your show, and then you organized who you were gonna put in and who was gonna be the bad guy. So in my mind, as a kid, as sixth grader, I'm like, this is so cool. Like in my mind, I'm like, oh, John Cena's come out and he's talking to Randy Orton, and then they're yelling at each other because I'm like, schedule a promo. And in my mind, I'm like, okay, these guys are hating each other for now. And then, yeah, it was awesome. I don't know. It was so good.
Back to topic.
Yeah.
But that's it for you.
That's
PlayStation
it.
2?
PlayStation 2. You had the Dreamcast.
Yep.
You had the 64.
64.
That's going to be it. Make sure you comment in the comment section below what you want to be brought back from the past and get
And
another
your 5
shot.
games. And your 5
And
games.
your 5 games. That'd be
Yeah,
cool
let
too.
us know. And you don't have to be popular. Just whatever you liked playing. It's
No
whatever you like.
restrictions.
Yep. No limitations. Only your imagination.
And we're moving on.